Karen Voskanian has a story from, I guess, a very different point of view, that of flight crew. And Karen was here 20 years ago tomorrow. Karen?
Hi, good evening. I'm Karen Voskanian. I was a working crew member on September 11, 2001. Today, I am reunited with two of my crew members, although one's missing, Pam and Aggie. It's our extreme pleasure to be here with you tonight. Just a little bit about me. I'm a proud flight attendant. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm even a lady Shriner, but my favorite title of all is being a screeched-in newfie. September 11th for most of us started off as a normal day. We were working a flight from London to Houston, and we had a great crew and we had a light load, so today was going to be easy. Our flight had been airborne for approximately 2.5 hours when we were briefed about the World Trade Center attacks. Our captain informed us that U.S. airspace had been closed and that we were awaiting instructions on a place to land. He told us that when plans were in place that he would inform the passengers. We were also instructed to inspect the cabin for suspicious activities. Our crew was so professional. All of our years of training took over, and we were all calm and collected. After what seemed to be an eternity, the captain did an all-crew call and told us we were cleared for landing here in Gander. As we strapped ourselves into our jump seats, our captain announced over the PA, "American airspace has been closed. We're landing in Canada. I will update you when we're on the ground." Understandably, the passengers were quite anxious. Upon landing, we looked out of the aircraft windows and we saw plane after plane parked on this tarmac. It was apparent that this was no longer an easy or a normal day. As promised, our captain informed the passengers of the terror attacks on American soil. He also stated, "As you can tell by the crowded runway here, we're probably going to be on board for a while." Headed to Houston that day, we had a large group of oilmen on our flight, and one by one, someone would come to the back galley for a drink. Very, very innocently, one drink became two, two became three, and so on and so forth. People felt the need to bond. As people gathered in the back galley, if they weren't already friends, they soon were. In 2001, not many people owned cell phones, and if so, it wasn't possible to charge them on the aircraft. We had one passenger that had a full charge. And starting with the crew, he offered everyone on that plane to use his phone. We were very conservative with our time, knowing that the phone was going to eventually die, and we wanted as many people as possible to use it. In adversity, many people revert to their true selves. One of our passengers, who obviously wasn't using his phone connection or sharing, said, "My meeting in Houston has now been canceled, so I'd like to fly back to London immediately." And while we were passing out sandwiches from cardboard boxes, some of the sandwiches some of you folks here probably made, one of my passengers said, "I ordered the vegetarian meal." So, of course, being the trained professionals that we are, we somehow accommodated him. After about 10 hours on the runway, we were told that it would be at least 10 more because people were being shipped in to process us. It was then that we encouraged our party scene in the back galley to take a break and get some rest. Throughout the day, we would look out the windows and see the lines of cars parked along the road, and y'all were looking at us. I can only imagine what your view was like. 29 hours and 50 minutes into our duty day, we were told it was finally our turn to deplane. We had a group of passengers come to the back galley and say, "We don't want to get off. We know what it's like here. We don't know what it's like out there." Again, being trained professionals, we encouraged them that it would be okay. It was extremely surreal finally deplaning and being processed by the custom officials. The setup in this terminal was amazing, and the map on the wall, which I believe was here, that said "you are here" was extremely appreciated even by us seasoned travelers. It was late afternoon on the 12th of September when we arrived at the Hotel Gander. Because there was no television coverage or internet, this was the first time that we actually witnessed the horrific events that had taken place in New York. I know no one here will ever forget where they were that moment in time. During our stay, we coordinated with the Red Cross to visit our passengers. They had thought we had left them. Our passengers were accommodated at the fire hall in Gambo. When we walked in the fire hall, we saw cot after cot lined up. It was a very, very impressive. It was also spaghetti night. The gentleman that let us use his cell phone was just finishing his dinner and said, "If we stay here much longer, I'm not going to fit into the one outfit I have to fly home in." Quite a few of our passengers were not present at the fire hall. We were told that they were at a bar. When the Red Cross driver heard this, he immediately said, "Oh, I know where they're at. They're at the Trailways. I'll take you there." Never in my life did I think the Red Cross would take me to a bar. At the Trailways, we saw several of our passengers, and it was really special to reconnect with them off of the airplane. We also had a Beatles tribute band on board. It was told to us that they had performed at the Trailways the night before, and they sang Hard Day's Night and dedicated it to the crew. Every day we were well taken care of, and we had almost nightly visits at the bar from Mayor Claude Elliott. Where are you, Claude? He did his best to keep us all updated with the current situation. Like most other plane people, we walked to Walmart. We couldn't make it half a block before somebody was offering us a ride, a key to their car, or an invite to dinner. Apparently, adopting an airplane person was a popular thing that locals did to help out. One of our passengers shared a story about being adopted at the Trailways. He said instead of being driven back to the host home, he was canoed there. I don't know many places in the world that you can adopt a tall Englishman and canoe him home. What a terrific open-door policy. One night at Legends, we met an air traffic controller. He asked if we were plane people, and if so, which flight. When I told him Continental 5, he said with tears in his eyes, "I have spoken to Continental Flight 5 for 10 years, and I have never seen a face." He hugged me so hard, I thought I was going to break in two. It was September 15th before we were allowed to reboard our flight. We were sad to leave, yet we wanted to be home. I remember feeling guilt for having such a wonderful time here in Gander, especially while our country and so many people were hurt and suffering. And our world had certainly changed. As people settled back on the plane, Marion, one of our co-workers, noticed Nick and Diane. She said, "Karen, I think some of our passengers hooked up." And as you know, hooked up they did. Marion and I reminisced over this in a recent phone conversation. We laughed about the hot towel, cold towel scene in Come From Away. We both claimed to be that girl. So once and for all, I will settle this. We both said it, but I said it first. Our passengers were happy to go home, but also had the same bittersweet thoughts of leaving all of you behind. They told us story after story of their wonderful experiences here and all their new friendships. As we touched down in Houston, Texas, cheers and tears of joy were expressed by all. A fitting end to our story are these beautiful words written by Kim Pham, one of our fellow crew members. Gander, you nourished the hungry, you sheltered the displaced, you guided the lost, you warmed our souls, you stole our hearts, and we are forever grateful to you. Thank you. Thank you, Brian.